Shahana clearly establishes the learning goals and success criteria so that her students know exactly what they are learning and why, and also how they will be assessed. This information is displayed to support students during the learning process. Shahana helps students draw on and build their background knowledge through a variety of hands-on activities such as Four Corners, Jigsaw, and Concept Attainment. Time for talk and interaction is woven throughout the lesson. Students are fully engaged and able to articulate their thinking.
Over the past few weeks, we've been discussing how we can use text features in order to determine the big idea of a nonfiction text. Today, we're going to go one step further and start exploring how we can see the big idea from different points of view. We're going to continue practicing these skills in the context of our discussions about child labor and Canada's connections to the world as part of our social studies unit on Canada and its trading partners. We're going to begin with a concept attainment activity, in which we'll see 6 different images and start to notice the similarities and differences between them. By doing this activity, you'll be able to understand that we can see anything in the world in more than one way. I'm going to ask you to take 30 seconds to observe the 6 images that you see on the board and start to try to recognize, how are the images the same? How are they different? As a class then, we'll decide how to sort the images based on the perspectives that they show. You may go ahead and take 30 seconds to observe the images on the board. I'd like you to now turn to an elbow partner to discuss some of the similarities and differences that you observed in the images. Go ahead.
I think the fish and the shark should go together because it's like we're looking at the pictures face to face.
The difference I find is that number 1 and number 2, pictures number 1 and number 2, it looks like you're looking at them from like you're lying down on the grass or the carpet.
And number 3 and number 5 are the same because it's basically the same picture but just from different points of view.
Take another 30 seconds now in your groups to decide on how we can sort the images based on the perspectives that they show. As a class then, I'll be calling randomly on students to share their group's ideas with the rest of the class, and be prepared to really explain your ideas with us. Go ahead. All right. I'd like to hear some of your group's ideas, if you don't mind sharing with the rest of the class. Sukant, what did your group think?
We think that the picture of the frog and the shark should be together because it's as though we are looking at both of the pictures face to face.
Thank you. Anything to add to that idea or possibly disagree with? Shazad.
I think that they shouldn't go together because on number 2 they show exactly from the top, and from number 3 they show a little from the side.
Okay, thank you. How about the remaining images?
We kind of disagreed with that because when you look at number 5, it looks like you're looking from a diagonal, but number 1 is just like straight up.
Okay, thank you very much. By doing this activity, you've already begun to identify that you can look at different images, different events, different issues from different angles. I want you to now think back to a scenario that we've discussed earlier this year. A lady is driving by our school and sees a teacher throwing a student out the window. The very next day, she goes and reports the incident to the local newspaper before knowing the full story. When we discussed this scenario, we already identified that there is more than one perspective other than the lady's perspective on this issue. Can anyone remember what some of those perspectives were? Vaishnavi?
The teacher.
Okay, thank you. I'll go ahead and put that up here. Maria?
The lady driving by.
Thank you. The driver?
The news reporter.
Thank you. And Jihao?
The student.
Thank you. We're now going to do a four corners activity where we will be able to see each of these perspectives a little more clearly and hear the rationale behind people's thinking. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to observe each of the corners of the classroom. At each corner, you will find that there is one of the perspectives on this issue. Now that you're at your corners, what I'd like you to do in your groups is discuss about how that person might feel or think about this situation. When you're discussing with your group, I'd like you to keep in mind that there may be more than one perspective at each corner of the classroom. When we're done our discussions, I'll be calling on a few people from each corner to share their group's ideas with the rest of the class. You may begin your discussions.
She could just think about what happened, not just think the worst of things and go to the local news reporter.
Maybe the teacher was trying to help the students, so the students should be really proud that he or she has a teacher that really cares for them.
What if he got injured or anything?
What if there's a dangerous situation in the school and so the teacher was just trying to save the student's life?
The students would be really proud to have a teacher who is so brave to risk her own life to save a student's life.
I think that the teacher would feel proud because she saved the students from danger, and also angry at the lady because the lady was seeing the situation in a negative way.
I'd like to hear some ideas from each of the corners, so why don't we begin with the lady's perspective? What did your group think? Ali Zain?
We think that the lady driving by would be shocked by what she sees and feels that it's her duty to report the incident because the child is in danger.
Great, thank you. Moving on to the next group. How would the news reporter feel about this situation? What did your group think? Mandy?
The news reporter will be excited to have such a shocking piece of news to report.
Thank you. Any other ideas? Dejanin?
The news reporter might be happy because since he has such a good piece of news, his boss might give him a raise.
Rakit?
Maybe on the other hand, the students may got scared because if they're throwing, if the teacher is throwing the students down the window, what if they get injured or anything?
Thank you very much. And finally, what about the teacher's perspective on this issue? What does your group think? Jiha?
We think that the teacher would feel proud to have saved the students from danger and angry at the lady for seeing the situation in a negative way.
Thank you. And Jordan?
We also think that the teacher might feel sad because now that the lady told the news reporter, the lady's reputation can be gone because now it's the news reporters and everybody knows that this lady's throwing out a child out the window.
Thank you very much. There we have just demonstrated another perfect example of how we can view one situation from many different lenses. When I say, I'd like you to return quietly to your seats so we can review our learning target. Go ahead.